Hey beauties, morning to you. All right, this video is directed to young people, to parents. Listen to me, beautiful people. Listen to me, parents. You have to know, take precautionary measures in terms of the foods that you're allowing your children to eat. You know, I was listening to a foreign news in fairly recent time, and a medical doctor was saying that quite a number of young people in their 20s and 30s are developing some rare form of cancer. I'm trying, don't want to call the wrong type. I can't recall if she had said cervical or some sort of a cancer, you know. And based on how she was speaking, I know it was alluded to their dietary, you know, intake, the kinds of foods that they eat, and some other things. You know, maybe some of it could be hereditary and all of that, because, you know, back in the day, that is how cancer was thought to be, only hereditary. But we realize that, boy, if your lifestyle overall is not good, it can affect you. You know, sometimes I remember back in the day too, I used to hear when you're very promiscuous, it can affect your cervix, and people, can develop cervical cancer and so on. Beautiful people, you and parents, you have to be very careful. I mean, you're not around your children, especially the teenagers, because I was listening to the news and there was an Indian doctor online. He was saying that some metabolic a syndrome that, and I said, oh my God, I wonder, that's a very unusual one. I've never heard that before. He said with the right intervention, I suppose with the right treatment, it can be, you know, not definitively cured, dealt with, you know, with the right medication. But you have to be careful of these constant fast foods. We have a way of calling them bad food. The constant fast foods. Parents, you have to take in effect what you're allowing your children to eat. You have to train them from they're young. You know, teach them, you know, be careful of the whole heap of sodas and the burgers and the fries and the, you know, patties are not knocking anybody and whatnot. But I mean, obviously, there are times, 1 or 2 times they will eat them. But the constancy in terms of eating it, sometimes when you look at some of these fast food places, they're packed. And the nutritional places, yes, the nutritional places are expensive, but you ever heard the saying, the cheapest becomes the dearest? The cheapest becomes the most expensive. In other words, things that are really good and that will help you to live a long and healthy life may be expensive. And it's not really expensive, and it's just that people generally don't have the wherewithal to afford it. In other words, if your income supersedes your expenses by leaps and bounds, it would be nothing to you to purchase, you know, maybe something healthy that may cost $3,000, you know, each time you go. It would be, you know, and especially if money comes in. But if you're not earning like that, it's going to seem mountainous to you. It's going to seem very expensive. But I mean, you have things that may not be as expensive as something that is organic and, you know, nutritional, as like a shake or, you know, one of those organic places. You can something a little less. But you have to take into consideration the lifespan of your teenagers. Yes, the Indian man was on the news last evening, and I said I wanted to vlog on same because I remember weeks prior, although it was a foreign news, it's something that can hit home because, you know, they always say Jamaica's a mini America. You know, when you look at some of these fast food places, they're filled to capacity. Fast food galore, people, you know, because they know it tastes good. But I know they're doing a lot of quantum things with a lot of the foods that back in the day used to taste bad. The vegetables, you know, healthy foods. They know how to make it taste like you're eating burgers and fries, so to speak. They know how to create something. But we have to take that into consideration, all of us, because it cannot be nice. When you see a lot of people, can you imagine when you're old and sickness packed and you already go downhill, and then sickness come push you further down the hill and squeeze you down more, press you down more? That cannot be nice. Or you're very young and you're developing illnesses. Back in the day, some of these illnesses, we never even used to think about them because we only thought that 1 and 2 people would catch it. And it is when you're really old and gaby and, you know, in a bad condition. Nowadays, any age catch any illness, diseases and sicknesses. I remember watching the news once, a foreign news, and when I saw the 14-year-old guy on sort of a little mini drip at his home because he suffered from hypertension, I was shocked. I thought that hypertension could not affect you until you reach a certain age in life. I was stunned. You know, sometimes you see some poor picnic and some glasses were big like telescope. And you say, my God, and the lens them thick. Don't care if you fling big stone and lick them, it no crack. It come like marble stone, you know? Marble tile, sorry. You said, oh my God, eyes in a bad state. Sometimes it's hereditary. Sometimes, even the foods that maybe when mothers are pregnant that they eat. Back in the day, they would think that maybe your age. You have people who, a lady was telling me way back in her time, she's in her 80s, of a woman who got pregnant in her 50s, had 4 healthy, strong boys. 4 healthy, and we're not talking in modern day, we're talking in, you'd call it Stone Age days, And you have people who are young, have children, some sort of a defect. Hit them, because when you check their nutrition, it's poor, it's bad. And the smoking and the drinking and all of that in excess too. Parents, you have to guide. You understand? I'm not saying you're going to watch them, but at least, even if they probably break off at one time, ensure that when they come home to a solid meal. Train them from their young. You have to do it from their young. Because when they reach a certain age, it's hard. The habit it's hard. They're going to say, Mommy, Daddy, I feel for this, I feel for that. And they just hop and they abscond eating the healthy foods that you have. Just try and prepare it in a sort of, tasty way. An edible way that they will like it. Don't just bolo slush the food like that too. Because sometimes you have the vegetable just biggie in the plate. Just big, so like you look on somebody's hand chop off in the thing. When they eating. I remember one time I got some food, I don't remember what it was. Why? When I opened it, I thought it was somebody's foot. Them chop up in pieces, big. Me not like looking for big food. Jesus, I frightened I could eat the food. I locked back the box. Me could eat it. I must be some other family member ate it. Frightening. The food looked big, the rice, the chicken, it wasn't chicken, but was it turkey or something? I can't remember. I frightened. Something big and odious. And tumpa, I couldn't believe it. Be careful. Parents, please. I'm not sure if you're not saddened by, the death rate. And I'm not talking about murder, I'm talking about because of food and the bad food, the constant eating of the improper food and so on. These fast foods and so on. Not knocking, I don't want the people to go abscond the place and make them not earn. But limit it, you have to limit it. A whole heap of people in Jamaica. So them not going to lose out. You just can't eat it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 2-3 times for the day. And there are people like that. I remember one man said he just ate KFC till right now he can't even look at it for a while. Just constantly buying it. But just bought it. Big person I'm talking. And some age too. The kind of food people don't understand. Sometimes you look at people when they tell you they're 20, you say, oh my God. I say 20, you think them 40 and 50 odd. They have a tough look, hard. And, when they have cement and gravel and the rough sand. And you put it in the broad daylight, 12 noon sun with water upon it and you make it steer. You see how that looks? Like them spritz it with some styling gel, the hardened styling gel, and leave it in the sun. Kind of a look. You wonder. Terrible. Be careful of what you're allowing your children to eat, especially on your watch time. And I say watch time when they're in your presence. I know you can't police them 24 hours per day, 48 hours every 2 days. We do understand that, parents, but please, that's one of the biggest investments you can make in your children, giving them that opportunity to your own extent to live a long and healthy life as much as possible. It's much more than that. I've often said the Bible says you want to live and see long, wonderful days, great days. If you want to do that, then do what is right by God. Treat people right. Treat people good. Respect people. Be forgiving. Be loving. Be compassionate. Teach them these principles because those really supersede even in terms of the food that you intake. I know me says so, the Bible says so, I may prove it. Because there are people who, let me tell you, they follow the nutritionist. The model, the methodology to the T. And sometimes develop some terrible illnesses that breaks them to nothing at early ages. So it tells a story. And I'm not talking necessarily the exceptions to the rule. But for the purposes of this particular video, you have to, encourage your young people to eat right. Because back in the day, when people tell you they were 10, you want if they're 5. Nowadays, when they tell you 10, you want if they're 20. Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message.